How are you? I'm
ready. You sure?
I'm ready. Ready as I'm going to be.
So why were you so interested in doing a podcast? You said that you always kind of wanted to do a podcast.
I think I'm funny, Alan. I think I'm really funny. Nobody else does. And I don't even have a good story. Like you said to me, you said, everybody's got a story. Yes, everybody's got a story. But I feel like mine is just, I don't know.
Well,
but I just thought this would be cool. That's all.
This is everybody's first date with Emilie Keene.
That's right.
We're all going to get to know Emilie at once.
Oh, no.
No pressure at all.
None.
But, so welcome.
Thank you for having me.
As I look around for people that might want to come visit or be a guest on this, I happened to walk into your place at Postal Express, and you gave me this smile, and I'm like, oh, I will do anything for a smile.
I'm good at that. My dad paid a lot of it for these, so
Well, but you're obviously very personable, so I'm like, that's perfect.
Gotta be.
And you like your beer in a can.
I do. I know. Sorry about that.
I mean, it makes me feel bad. I like my beer in a glass.
I do North Carolina right. This is how I was raised.
All right, so you're from North Carolina.
Sure am.
Where?
Rutherfordton. So it's right in the middle of Asheville and Charlotte. Takes me an hour and a half to get to either place.
Okay. My guess is it's kind of small.
Too small. Very small. Mm-hmm.
I wish I could remember all the other people I know from really small towns in North Carolina. So my neighbor right here, she's from a very, very small town in North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm going to guess very similar location.
There's a lot of those.
It's like, it's a one stoplight. Everybody went to the same school.
Mm-hmm. Talking my language. That's it.
Both their parents met like in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so why are you here? Because it's not there, whatever it was. I forget the name of the town.
I remember, because I went to college here, and I remember driving down Harbison Boulevard, and I was coming from St. Andrews, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so big. And I think to myself now, oh my gosh, this girl, wow. It's just, and wasn't even downtown, But we had to drive like 45 minutes just to get to a mall. So it was very small.
One of my other guests, Dwayne Green, is from North Carolina as well. Okay. Similar small town. I don't recall the name of it either. Sorry, Dwayne. I try. Really, I do. I do know the story, though, but apparently they have a zoo there anyway.
No,
and apparently it's quite nice, but it is a very small place.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his wife were there for a while, and then he moved around. But I met him in the musician circle.
Interesting.
He's quite the accomplished trombone player.
Who knew?
Well, until you start meeting people, you don't know these things.
That's right.
So what brought you to South Carolina? The answer to that's already been given. You went to school here.
I did. And this was my last choice. I
USC
applied to
Columbia College? Or?
USC. So I got my undergrad actually at East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina. So after I got done there, took a year off and decided what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I had some really good mentors along the way. I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. And I had a boss at the time. I was working in a hospital in the wellness department. And he suggested that maybe I consider this degree health administration because I didn't really want to be on the clinical side of things. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. So I started researching and I applied to San Diego State, Tulane, University of Florida, University of South Carolina, and I feel like there was one more, but I can't remember where it is now. But anyway, South Carolina was the first school I heard back from, and it was a yes, so I'm like, I guess I'm going there.
These are schools that are very far apart.
I know.
And very far from home, and kind of expensive.
Yes. I didn't think about any of those things. Other than wanting to be out of said small town. Yeah.
So Karen Skelton, who was just here, has a rather similar story. She's from Colorado. She also went to school here because she wanted to get away from home. Mm-hmm. She wanted to get out on her own, and she wanted to go to a school far away. And I'm like, I had the same thought, but I only went 4 hours away by car. I mean, it was in the same state. I didn't really even consider things outside the state because 4 hours by car was far enough.
Right.
You know, I didn't have to worry about mom and dad just dropping in on me unannounced at that distance. And
True.
yes, that was a concern. You know, sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
I saw her do that to my older brother, and I'm like, no way I'm going to put up with that.
Nope.
This is not an option.
No.
So, yeah, but to me, I'm like, yeah, that seemed like a fair distance for me. So I never would have, I mean, to get on a plane,
I know.
to go to college,
I know.
it's like, you're not coming back for like the weekend.
I know. I always wonder what my life would have been like had I ended up in one of those other places. Who knew? I'd have actually been there with Katrina if I'd have went to Tulane because I was in grad school from 2003 to 2005. So anyway, you know, God takes you to special places.
Well, and this is apparently a special place.
It is.
As I look around. Did you find that it was kind of freeing? That when you got out on your own, that this really felt like you were really out on your own, maybe?
Yes, I think so. When I graduated with my undergrad degree, I moved back to my dad's house, and that was very constricting. I remember my dad was like, "Where are you going tonight?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm like 22. Please stop asking me where I'm going." And you don't want to know the answer to that anyway.
But I'm Dad.
I know. So I knew I wanted to do something other than what I got my undergrad degree in, and I knew I needed to get out from under my dad. I think that was kind of the final, I'm breaking up with you, Dad. I'm done. I'm moving out. I'm not coming back. Although I did come back for a little bit after. Anyway, long story, but I did come back for a short stint. Yes, but I haven't. Really after that point, I didn't look back. So. Do
you recommend the same thing for your kids? Do you think?
You know, I thought I did. So I have an 18-year-old, and I don't know, probably up until the 7th grade, he had good grades. He was in all the smart classes. I was like, good job, son. And then things just went sideways. I was like, I'm really failing as a parent. I have stories for days about this kid. He really gave me a run for my money. But I pushed him probably until about the 10th grade with grades. Turn your homework in. And I mean, I got to the point where I was like having chest pain over this because I wanted him to go to college.
You or him?
Yes. And I finally came to that realization. I'm like, maybe this is not what he's meant to do. And I needed to be okay with that. So I finally I shouldn't say gave up as a parent, but kind of. So you can edit that part out.
No, you're not. It's not a matter of giving up. It's a matter of realizing that
it's not my life.
You're not them.
I'm not. And so I just
wait a minute,
stopped chasing him.
I have to let them
I did.
be them, not
I did.
force them to be me.
I did. And I told him
You didn't give up.
I did.
You stopped
I did.
pushing against something.
I did. Stop pushing against the grain because, again, that was my dream for him, not his.
Lead, don't push.
Correct. So he is thriving. He graduated in 2004, and he decided he went to Spring Hill High School, and they have it's not a trade school, but they've got the Cates Center. So it has like welding and firefighting and electrician, construction, that kind of thing. And he got into an electrician class, and he was like, I kind of like this. And so now he's at Midlands Tech, loving it, turning in all of his homework. I am like so proud. So again, it was just me kind of realizing this is what he's meant to be.
I know a friend of mine here, his son decided that he wanted to be a welder.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, I know what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And he's over at Midlands Tech.
Yeah.
Doing the exact same thing. He's doing great. He's got job offers, and he's in that career. He'll have work for the rest of his life.
Exactly. Trades are hard to come by.
He's proud of what he does, which is a phenomenal part of it.
Right.
And it's a big part of when you're going to be successful.
That's right.
And every kid has to go through it.
That's right.
And it's why, I mean, it's interesting because as parents, you want to be able to guide them.
Yes.
You want to be able to go, oh, this is what you should do. And I mean, my daughter and I are actually very close, but there are a lot of times where I'm like, okay, you got to sit down and do your math homework. I'm like, you're going to sit here until you understand this. And of course,
I couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, didn't work.
Probably led to more marital bliss, or what do you want to call it? Education.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Child, really not all that great at math, but she is so flippin' brilliant. I cannot. It's beyond my ability to understand. And I'm like, all right, one of these days you're going to find how to exploit that.
Exactly.
Until then, just have fun.
Yep.
Just don't die.
That's right. Yeah. It's great advice, Dad.
Probably the best advice I can give.
Listen.
Hey.
Yep.
Anyway, so I was going to ask you, so you went to, what was your undergrad and grad degrees in?
So I got my undergraduate degree in exercise physiology. I thought I wanted to go into like cardiac rehab. And that's when I decided I did not want to be bedside, because when I worked in the wellness department, I was working part-time in the wellness department and part-time in the cardiac rehab department. And you have, patients that come in that have just undergone major cardiac surgery, like chest open, and a lot of things that got them there, eating bad, cigarettes, all the things. They would come to me for rehab, and they'd have their cigarettes in their pocket while they were coming to exercise. And I was like, I just cannot do this, because I didn't have control over them. And so it was just frustrating to me. So that's when I got to talking to the mentor that I was telling you about. And I'm like, I like this, but I don't think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, be on the clinical side of things. So
humans are a weird sort.
Yes, they are. So anyway,
thank God for that.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, undergrad exercise physiology, and then I got my master's degree in health administration.
Also from USC?
Yes, graduate degree USC, undergrad East Carolina, and I went there because I went there in 1998. The year before that, they got voted the biggest party school in North Carolina. So, actually, it might have been the United States. I
was just going to say,
it's a huge party school.
Well, it's funny because where I went to school in northern New York, tiny little village of Potsdam, there's two universities there. There's the State University of New York at Potsdam, and there's Clarkson University, an Ivy League school.
Okay.
10 miles down the road is St. Lawrence University. I don't think they're Ivy League, but they seem to act like it anyway.
Right.
And then there's another ag and tech school, part of the State University of New York system. So there's 4 universities within like 10 miles of each other. And I think there's maybe 3,500 students there at Potsdam where I went, total.
Yeah, tiny.
And when I was there, what I heard, I don't know. I think maybe every college, I'm beginning to believe that every college says this.
Yeah.
We were the number 2 party school in the country.
That's a lot of partying.
Behind like US or UC Santa Barbara, I think was, or Chico.
That's
or whatever it was. Some
insane.
California school was voted and we were like the number 2. And I'm like,
yeah.
And my grades, my freshman year at least, definitely showed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. I don't regret it at all.
I don't regret it either, but I don't want to see my daughter going to a school like that. I'm like, no, you're going for academics. You're going for a different experience. You don't need to go there and just drink yourself into oblivion.
Correct. No, let's not do that. Yeah. It was an experience. Let's just say that.
Not saying that might have happened fairly often back in the day, but apparently it was a big thing. But okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be at least the third person I know that went to some school has said the same thing. Oh, yeah, I went there because... But
guilty.
Somehow the education comes along with it.
I actually graduated in 4 years. So I think I did something right.
Back in the day, that was just normal.
That is correct. Now, not so much, but I'm still proud of myself for getting through in 4 years. Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
What were the activities you involved yourself in beyond just academics? What did you do as extracurricular, beyond the partying?
Beyond the partying. So I was a swimmer growing up, and I ran too. So I actually joined the cross country team at East Carolina when I was there, just as a walk-on. And I was like, I don't love this. I've been running way too long. So I did that for a little bit, and then I joined the club swim team, which I really enjoyed doing that. And then my junior year, I think it was my junior year, I did the dumbest thing. I am not a girly girl, but I got roped into a sorority. Bless America. What was I thinking? Like, I had a really good friend that I met right when I got to college. She lived in Charlotte, grew up there. We had a lot of the same interests, and we, kind of kept it. We had a lot of the same classes. And she had joined a sorority. She knew that's what she was going to do, like her freshman year. And so she'd been begging me to do it. And finally, like my junior year, I was like, fine, I guess I'll do it. And that was an experience too. So I had my junior year, after living in an apartment, I think I shared with two other girls. You go to sharing a sorority house with 30 girls, and that was very different. So it was like, anyway, so that took up a lot of my time starting my junior year. And I think that is pretty much it.
Has that legacy turned into anything for you since then? Have you had
Not
any
a thing.
benefit from it?
Not a thing. Like, I paid my dues on time. I stayed in good standing. But I still keep in contact with a lot of the girls. I built some really long-lasting relationships. So, yes, the answer to that question is yes. I changed my mind.
Yeah, it does. There's usually some really good friendships that you're making in any circumstance.
Yes. But I don't go to any of the alumni events. I don't donate to the sorority. I don't do any of that. And I just don't. So anyway, I would say just the friendship part, I guess, is kind of what I gained from that experience.
Well, but that's certainly worth it.
Invaluable. That's right.
Right. So you did exercise physiology.
I did.
And then you went into healthcare administration.
That's right.
And you're athletic.
Was.
Well, you were active. You're not athletic anymore?
I am. I was just, and children, children just kind of rule the roost. And so I had a really great workout routine, probably up until this school year. My son decided he wanted to change school. So I live in Chapin, and he went to the Chapin School District, and he decided he wanted to go to Gray, which is right off Leaphart Road, and that's a long way from Chapin. And I work out in the mornings, or was working out consistently in the mornings, and that has just totally derailed because my exercise classes that I was participating in started at 5, and we have to be on the road by like 6:45 or we're going to be late. So it's not enough time to get ready. So I have a Peloton at my house that I try to hop onto whenever I feel. But I have to have workout buddies. Like, I'm a very social person. Morning time is my jam. That's when I'm most productive. And so to not have my gym rat girlfriends, I'm just trying to figure out my space in life right now. So
well, I had my wife, when we came here, of course, we didn't know anybody. And she's always been an active person.
Yes.
And somehow she ended up over at Carolina Girls, the gym over there. Then she was out on Charter Oak Road. I can't remember the name. Was it New Life? Maybe was out there.
Probably. Yes, there was New Life around town. I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
So she would go out there. She's not content to go to one gym.
Right.
And she's not content to go and take one class. And,
right.
She would go in and do like a step aerobics class, and then there's a kickboxing class after this. So she's like, well, do you think I can do that? And they're like, well, seriously, nobody's ever come out of step and then gone and done kickboxing. You'd be the first. So she went and did it. And, so you meet people along the way. She still has lunch at least once a month, if not more often than that, with girls that she met there that, they've been doing this for 20 years.
That's great.
She's been teaching at Wolf's Gym.
Mm-hmm.
She teaches yoga at Pink Lotus.
Okay.
She was teaching, what do you call it? There's like a Spanish Zumba. She was a Zumba teacher for a while over, I think it was at New Life over on St. Andrews.
Yep, they tore that down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been very, very active in all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And it's just, she's developed a bit of a reputation. And half the time I meet people who are like, oh, you're Dennis Hand's husband. So when somebody actually recognized me for being me once, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just me. I'm not identified as my wife, who's always in the gyms, and everybody knows her.
I love it. Small community.
Well, it's that, but it's also just the benefits
Yeah.
of staying active
Yes.
and paying attention to things.
Yes.
And so how much of that from your undergrad work has really kind of impacted your life today? I mean, are you active today because you've been active all your life? Or are you active today because you were active when you were young and then you learned in school the exercise physiology, like how things work and how they break down, and you see the people that are like
Yeah.
coughing on their cigarettes and with open heart surgery, you're like, not for me.
No, don't want to.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
thank you for what's that called? The cautionary tale.
There you go. Yeah. So I've always been active, and I gotta say, I think it came from my dad. Like my dad, he is 68. He is in the gym every morning at 4:30. He has been doing that for as long as I can remember. And when we were small, he was working out. I don't know how he ended up in this guy's gym in his backyard in the shed. I don't know. But there's three of us. And so we were little. He would take us over there. We'd play in the yard while he worked out. And I think all three of us, all my siblings, we have just very active. And I think it's like it's not hereditary or genetics or anything like that, but I just feel like
Cultural.
we have seen him do that. And we know, like, I feel bad when I don't. And that's the first question. He calls me every morning. Thanks, Dad. Love you. Did you work out today? That's his first question. No, Dad, I didn't do it today. So I think it's just ingrained in me that it's the right thing to do. And in conjunction with knowing what not exercising can do to you. So my mom is not very active. My grandmother was not very active. And my grandmother died at a very young age. And my mom's had heart problems. So I know what the risks are for not staying active. So I guess all of that.
So how in the heck did you end up running Postal Express on Library Hill in Lexington?
That's a long story. I know.
At the moment, that's your connection to Lexington.
That is.
And people would meet you in there.
Yeah.
I know people that are familiar with that store. And they're like, I thought some old man used to run that store or
True
something.
story, yeah. So my husband started a courier business back in 2011. And so he's had that business for a long time. When I made the decision that I wanted to get out of healthcare, I just called him up one day and I said, I'm quitting, turning in my notice today. I can't do this anymore. And so I had to make a decision. I had been in that field for 15 years. I mean, it's a small community. And, even though I worked at one hospital system, you get to know people in other, hospitals and healthcare sectors. And so I knew that I did not want to drive for a living. People are crazy on the roads here, especially South Carolina. So I was like, I got to figure out something else to do. So I started researching, what would kind of go well with the transportation business. And so I started researching. They have these retail shipping stores. And so I started making phone calls and opened a store in 2023, January of 2023 in Irmo. And just basically learned everything from the ground up, made some really good connections with some people in the industry that had been doing it a while. I went and visited other stores in other states. And I got a call about the store here in Lexington, probably in October of 24. I was in my Irmo store, and girl at the front desk said, hey, you got a call from a realtor calling from Charlotte. And I'm like, okay. So he is the property manager of the building that we're in. And the previous owner was selling or retiring. And he said, this is a shot in the dark. I just thought that I would give you a courtesy call. I'm calling other stores in the area like yours. Owner's retiring at the end of the year. perfect space. It was built out to spec for this type of store. Just didn't know if you were interested. And I was like, well, had my hands full with my Irmo store. And again, I'm still learning. I'm like a year into this, So October of 23, not 24 is when he called me. That was
just a few months ago.
Yeah, because I've owned it a year. So it was October of 23. So my husband and I got in the car. We drove over here and sat in the parking lot for like 10 minutes. And we saw like the turnover in the store. And I'm like, we're buying it. We are totally buying it. And so I called drove back to Irmo, called the realtor, and I said, I'd like to go inside and look. Like, it'd be weird just to, walk in by myself. He was like, well, I'll drive down tomorrow. We'll go look at the space. I'll introduce you to the owner. And we like shook hands, I think that day. And we were like, this is a deal. Like, we're going to buy it. And I started sending my staff that I had hired in Irmo over to the Lexington store to kind of get to know the customers and the way he did things, because he'd been in business for like 15 years. And so we just wanted to kind of keep things the same-ish as much as we could in the beginning. And so that was, so that was 2023, October. And we finally took over. His last day was the last day in December. So we took over like January 1st of 24. And we haven't looked back. I love that store. I love it. I love the people. Like when I first got to Lexington, I told you I'm from Chapin. It's just different. The people here are very different. And the people that were working in my Irmo store, and I can't even describe different. I can't even describe it. I know you were about to ask me, and I wish I had an answer for you, but I mean, literally the girls that were working in my Irmo store, when I would float them over to Lexington just to either train with the previous owner or to staff it after we had taken it over, they're like, those people over there are just different. And I never asked what different means different things to different people, but I never asked what they meant by that, but we are in our element. I love this place. I don't live here. I don't do anything but work here, but I don't know. I don't ever foresee myself giving this up until I just can't do it anymore.
So what makes this so rewarding for you? So what is the primary activity in this business? People just bringing in stuff to ship?
Yes. So that is kind of Postal Express. That's kind of what, in the previous owner, that was kind of his niche. Packing things, shipping things. But we have tried to venture out a little bit and get into more of like print work, promotional items, mailbox rentals, trying to think, wide format printing, small format printing. We can do just all sorts of things. Passport photos. I wish I could just name all the things off, but I can't remember them all now. But it is, it's rewarding to me because I love people. And I think that's the part, like when I was in the administration field with healthcare, I had interaction with my managers, but I didn't have interactions with the patients. And I just thrive off people. Right. And so this gives me an opportunity to meet different people, hear stories. I mean, we are the hairstylists. I don't know if you know this, but we're the hairstylists of the shipping industry because the stories we know about people is just, and people feel like they can pretty much just tell you anything. I mean, you'd be amazed about the things that we know about people. But that being able to help people is just, again, just rewarding for me. So
you don't figure yourself as an introvert?
Not at all. I didn't even have to think about that for a second. Not at all. I'm probably too much of an extrovert, we pride ourselves, or try to, on like the customer service aspect. And the previous owner, he was an introvert. I mean, he was extremely good at what he did. I mean, we pale in comparison to his skill level. But I think our customer service skills are just different. It's not bad different or good different. It's just different than what his other customers or his customers were used to when he was.
Well, I know, the day I walked in there, I had just spent, I don't know, an hour or something at Walgreens trying to get a passport photo taken care of.
Yeah.
And it was excuriating.
Did we fix that for you? I can't remember.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Well, I had to come back because I needed to get a better photo.
That's right.
So I was, unlike, most normal people, they just go someplace, here, take my picture and then print the photo out. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like I care a little bit maybe.
Right.
Maybe I care too much.
Right.
I don't know, whatever. There's some level of care in there. Maybe it's because I care that somebody's going to look at my passport and go, ooh. You've seen my passport photo.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
But in any case, the experience there didn't work out as well as I would like it to have for my wife's picture at Walgreens. And I'm like, all right, I need to get this printed out someplace else. So I don't know why I thought even to stop in there.
Had you been in there before?
I think once, maybe many years ago.
Okay.
And I like people as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that really personable experience that I would have liked to have had.
Sure.
So I didn't go back.
Gotcha. Well, that's why we're here.
So why I went in? Oh, I know why I went in this time, because we're going on a trip in the fall, and one of the people going with us, she had said that that's where she had gotten her passport photos done.
Ah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I know they do passport photos over there. So I thought, well, I will go in there for that. And then I walked in, and you gave me that smile that I've already talked about, and because you're a very people-oriented person.
Yes.
And
I'll say.
I would say that I'm an unskilled extrovert.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
That's okay.
But yeah, it works out well. But it matters. It's a really, really big difference.
It is.
We were someplace yesterday as part of the whole travel experience, and getting prepared for this, that, and the other thing. And we walked into this office, and my wife and I are just going, this person doesn't like their job. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't like the job either, probably.
I know.
You're sitting there just doing TSA pre-check stuff, and like, I don't know. It wouldn't be quite my thing.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that it's somebody's thing.
Right.
But whoever that is wasn't the person I met.
Correct.
Now,
I have that.
The people doing their job did a fine enough job. We were in and out of there in 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it was. Everything went smoothly. We got smiles out of people.
Sure.
Because my whole objective in life is if I can get a smile out of you, then I'm,
You're winning.
This is my energy. I come from like, I made somebody smile. Oh my gosh. So, but that matters so much. It's a huge, huge difference in restaurants and any kind of other business or, any place you walk into somebody's home. I mean, it's like, oh, is it like a morgue in here?
Right.
And then of course I'm the silly person that looks at this and like, well, this looks like a mugshot. Why do they call it a mugshot? Well, you got to look up mugshots. Apparently, they're supposed to look bad. But why is it called a mugshot? I'm guessing. I don't know. This is the story I've heard. In the old days, let's say 200 or 300 years ago, you go to your local pub and they would store your mug for you. So that you didn't have to carry it around or like I got to bring it in. It's like, hey, I got Alan's mug. It's right over here. How do I know it? Because there's a carving of his ugly mug, his ugly face on the mug.
Interesting.
So that's how this became known as a mug, but generally speaking, if it was ugly.
Right.
Nobody has a pretty mug. You've got an ugly mug.
Yeah.
And apparently it came from having a mug
Interesting. With
in
your
a pub
face
in the old towns.
Who knew?
Now, who knows? I don't know. Makes a great enough
something
story.
to Google later.
Well,
right?
yeah, does it really matter to, if it's a story, that's all that matters at that point.
That's it.
But so you got plans to open more here in town or?
Yeah, I think that's a long-term goal. Probably not here in Lexington. I told you a million times, we live in Chapin, but we just bought some property out in Prosperity, and we're always looking for opportunities, I guess, when you go into different cities or towns, like, man, it would be cool if this was here. So they don't have anything like that up there, and like the closest even UPS store is in Newberry. There's not a FedEx drop-off at all. So I don't know, long term, yes, I think I would like to open another store maybe in that area.
So you guys accept all carriers?
All carriers.
So they come in once a day or whatever it is to do pickups?
That's right.
Which is good to know because my mother often sends things back because she orders things online or whatever the case is. And she's like, well, I got to do a return. And she doesn't drive and get out at all. So, hey, Alan, would you take this to the post office for me or do this?
Yep.
And, that one's got to go FedEx. And I'm like, okay, I got to go go over to Office Depot or something to drop off FedEx over there.
Right down the road.
Or exactly, but I don't know.
Yep. So we do, if it's, there's a little disclaimer here. So UPS owns the rights to the software that can scan the QR codes that come along with Amazon returns. So when you go to do an Amazon return, you have to select UPS drop-off. That is me, not UPS store or Kohl's or any of those other places. I'm in UPS drop-off. And it'll give you a barcode that I can scan.
And it's a lot easier, for me anyway, to say, I'm going to go to this place where no line, no waiting.
And they're nice. Those people are so
nice
over there.
And they got all these extra other little things on the side in there.
Yeah.
Like, when are you going to start selling like CBD oils and stuff?
Oh, maybe.
I was in, where was I the other day? I don't know. I was in like Sam's, out in front of the neighborhood here.
Oh, yeah.
And they got like Delta 9 shots.
I didn't know that. I've never been in there. Looks like a neat
Delta
little
9
place.
and Delta 8. What the hell? I don't know. I mean, I have an alcohol problem. It's not a
Same.
Delta problem. It's not never been my bailiwick. But yeah, so I mean, that stuff is all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But it's every little bit. Yeah,
Yes.
my wife used to go to Wild Birds. Well, in fact, she still goes over to Wild Birds Unlimited.
Okay.
But I mean, they've got greeting cards, and I know you've got a whole couple racks of greeting cards, and then there's like local artist kind of stuff.
That's cool.
That reminds me, I used to have a client down in South Florida, a restaurant, and their decor was all local art for sale.
That's cool.
So you be in there having your meal and your
And
glass of wine and go, that would look really nice above my fireplace.
That's great marketing.
Not that many people in Florida had fireplaces, but
Right.
you know what I mean.
I get it.
Next to the pool, that'd be really cool to have something
right.
like that, or in the hallway or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's like, in fact, I think art was in the name of the restaurant too, but it was an interesting exposure to it, like a crossover
Sure.
kind of a thing. And I'm like, I've thought about doing that here. Like,
Yeah.
what if I had soaps
That's a good idea. I like it.
or honey, like
Yes,
local honey,
local. I'm telling you, I love local things. I love local things.
eggs,
Yeah, eggs. As long as you
local
don't.
non-pasteurized eggs.
That's right.
that
As long
haven't
as you
gotta
don't
keep
charge
cold.
$18 for a 12-pack, I think you'll be safe.
Okay. So what else do you do for fun?
Children, I have no fun. That's terrible, isn't it? It's terrible. I have a great life. Let me.
So you get to
clear-
the gym now and again. You chase after your
Yes.
kids. You got a business which you're thrilled with,
I am
which consumes
a lot.
pretty much all of your time now. It's just
Yeah.
another child.
Yes, it is.
Although it goes to bed at a certain time.
It does. Yeah, I conk out pretty early because I still get up early. Let's see. We just started. I told you we bought some property out in Prosperity. It's raw, like really raw land. So we've been going out there on the weekends and cutting down trees and stuff, which is so fun.
Okay, so here's your workout.
Yes.
No, Dad, I didn't get to the gym.
Yeah, but I was sawing logs. Yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of funny how life brings you back to people that have been in your life, at different phases. But I had a high school girlfriend that we actually fought over the same boy in high school, so we didn't like each other, but we had the same friends, so we a lot of times ended up at the same place. But she has since come back into my life, and her older son is about my son's age, and they both played baseball. And so she reached out to me randomly a couple years ago and was like, hey, I have a baseball tournament in Columbia and, whatever. And so we just so I hang out with her, which is always so fun.
Who got the boy?
Who got the boy?
You were both chasing after the same boy, you said, in high school.
Neither. We both. She dumped him, I dumped him. That was,
Yeah, it turned out he wasn't
he was not the Romeo
he wasn't
played.
all that.
No. And even to this day, we kind of joke around like, he used to tell me that he was talking to you, and that made me mad at you. And she was like, that never happens. Like, so, boys will be boys, I suppose.
Oh,
but
stop.
I know, gosh. But yeah, she lives in the Clemson area, so we go travel to see her sometimes. She's big into Clemson. But we'll go.
Half the audience.
I know. We'll go to a baseball game with her. I mean, they are pretty good. And actually, another crazy story about that is last summer I went to a Clemson baseball game with her, and a girl that I went to college with at East Carolina, her husband played baseball at East Carolina. Now he is one of the coaches at Clemson. So I texted her and one of my sorority sisters. And so I said, hey, are you here at the game? And I have not seen her in probably 20 years. But anyway, she came over. She took us into the back, athletics, like locker rooms and stuff. So my son and my friend's son, they got to go back and like meet some of the baseball players. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like high rolling, man. It's all about knowing people.
But at Clemson.
Yes, but I had a good time.
High rolling them at Clemson. I'm just saying that out loud.
I did not wear Gamecock gear, so I was kind of neutral. But it was a very cool experience. And again, it's funny how life just brings you back to people that, you had.
So are you an avid Gamecock fan?
Yes.
All the sports?
All the sports. But we really, as a family, follow football and baseball. That's kind of what we follow. But I, watch. I say we follow all the other sports just to check the scores and things like that. My husband grew up in Florida, so he's a Florida State fan. So by marriage, I'm a Florida State fan.
Just because he grew up in Florida doesn't make him Florida State.
But he is.
There is a Gators.
There is, but not in this household.
There is a Miami, whatever they are. I don't even know.
Hurricanes,
yes. Sorry.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I used to live down in South Florida for many years. I'm way too familiar with the rivalries among Florida State, University of Florida, University of Miami. Now you got Florida Atlantic University.
Oh, yeah.
To do
There's
thing.
a ton of good schools.
University of South Florida, huge school.
Yep.
It's no small thing down there.
No.
And every town has their.
That they do.
I worked for about a year in Louisville, and when we moved up there, literally the first day on the job, you're getting your ID card and getting a little lanyard to hang on or something. They're like, do you want a blue one or a red one?
Is that serious?
And I knew instantly, I'm like, all right, I know this has to do with schools, but I'm not a big college sports fanatic. I'm not from the Louisville area, so I don't really know. But I'm pretty sure blue is University of Kentucky.
You're right.
And red is U of L. And I'm in Louisville, so I'll take red.
Red.
But I knew I was going to piss off an old friend of mine who had gone to UK.
Kentucky. Yeah.
But I'm like, well, maybe I'll never tell him.
That's right. Maybe just hide the badge.
And then when I got here, it was like a Gamecocks
orange or garnet.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I can't get away from this, can we?
You can't. It's everywhere.
So you get friends together and you're like, one friend is thrilled and the other one is crying.
I know.
And they're at the same time. You're like,
I know. You can't please.
You're just like, I'm trying to have a good time over here, folks.
I know. Can the game not matter for a second?
And it's like, well, if you got the game on, we'll come over. So that's half the reason this TV is up here is because, you got to have the game on down here. And it's like, okay, which game do I have to put on here?
Yeah.
Because, some of it is interesting. It
is.
I like to watch sports because it used to be you didn't know how things were going to turn out.
Yeah. Now it's pretty predictable.
Although this year I'm a lifelong Boston Bruins fan, and I know how every game is going to turn out. We're going to lose. Yeah. We're on a 9-game losing streak right now.
You're going to pull out of it. I feel it.
Oh, yeah.
In
about 2029, I think, maybe. Yeah, so that's all. But that always makes it fun. And again, it's how you connect with people. And that's the whole thing is, and that's my whole point here, of course, is to connect with people. Something about this space does it. I don't know what to make of that, quite honestly. Maybe it's the timbers.
I can't take my
brought
eyes
over
off
from
the wall.
An underground pub in Dublin.
Yes, that they are. I've touched them. They're nice. Yeah, the space is very nice. You've done
but it's
remarkable.
Raw. This is just vinyl. There's nothing special about it. The carpet down here, as I said, it's a 20-year-old beat up old carpet.
Right.
What's this? This is a workbench.
Which I was admiring, by the way. So, just a little short story on this. We bought, have you ever heard of the surplus store in Casey? It's either in Casey or West Columbia. It's off of Boston Avenue near Airport High School. But this table, we bought 4 of these, and they had been in, it's basically recycled things. So you can go in there and it's like you can, God, I can't even, you have a ton of things. So these were like in a machine shop, and they were so like beat up and raw, but like solid, right? And so
get a planer and suddenly you got a perfect surface again.
Oh my, thank you. That's exactly what we did. We sanded them down and we stained them, and they are beautiful, but you can still see like the burn marks and like holes where yes, the character.
That's just 2x6s from Home Depot.
And you just,
a couple of those, I would take a screw, just lay the screw up against the side of it and bang it with a hammer just to create
distress
a little line.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like an axe to it, and just beat it up a little bit, get a little stain on there, it brings it out, throw the polyurethane on top of it. It's gorgeous. And I want to do the same thing for this.
Yes.
But it's going to be a lot of work.
It will be a lot of work.
But you're telling me that I might be able to go get a beat up tabletop.
It
already does everything that I want.
I'm telling you, like we just go down there sometimes just to see what they have. I mean, it's basic.
So you date like my wife and I do.
I do, yeah. We go look
we
for
went to the
raw
chef
find.
store once,
Yes!
just for a date.
That's such a great
What are you
date.
going to do? Well, let's go to the chef store.
Yes. Well, you need to add the surplus store to your list because, again, like this was such a rare find. I ended up using these as a desktop in my Irmo store. We put shiplap on the front of the thing because it had a shelf just like this too. But we put shiplap on the front and on the sides and just used it as and they already like had the holes in there where they had attached some kind of machinery, I'm sure, on top of the table. So I was able to stick my cords through there. So you need to add that to your list, your date list.
Yeah, I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like that a lot because this isn't quite big enough for the space.
Right.
I don't know
I like it.
why I'd say that, but
I like it.
you just get a few more people around it.
There you go.
And I've had people suggest we should have, maybe 2 or 3 people on a podcast. I'm like, I don't have space for it.
That's a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, it is. And, you get somebody that might be a little bit quiet. They'll never get a word in edgewise.
No, don't invite them here with me because, talky. Yeah.
So where do you get out and around to for fun, travel? You said your husband's from Florida.
He is.
We went to Florida State, which will piss off some of my wife's
Somebody.
family who's living in Gainesville.
I know. Gainesville's a nice town too.
But where in Florida is he from?
So Jacksonville. He grew up in Jacksonville, Orange Park area.
Okay.
But when we vacation, we like to go on the Gulf side. I just love
The sand over there is much nicer than the Atlantic coast.
so nice. But I got to be honest, when I had a real job, this is a real job, but when I had a real job, I got like vacation, right? Hey, I'm taking off this time, take PTO, whatever. We haven't had a vacation in probably 2 years since I left healthcare, and it's very sad. You feel like you're so tied to your business, and I feel guilty for leaving. Well, and I've literally gotten like 150 text messages just sitting here from my girls at the shop. So I'm like, please tell me the place is not on fire. But yeah, I just feel vacations would be very different now, I think. I was really, when I worked in healthcare, I was able to unplug because I had other people to kind of step in and do the things that on a day-to-day basis that I was doing. But I don't have that now. So anyway, we haven't taken a vacation.
That's what good employees are for. You get somebody trained up to.
That's right.
And there's no, obviously, now you have what, 2 stores?
No. So, yeah, no.
So you got rid of the Irmo
Got rid of
store.
Irmo store. I was like, it's
Okay.
too much. It's too much. I'm not sleeping. So that went away at the end of just January of this year. So I just have Lexington to focus on, which has been great. But yeah, you're right. Getting employees trained up and comfortable and, that's what we're working towards. So I'm excited. But I'm taking a trip. I told you my youngest son also, he's in baseball and he has taken us everywhere. So we are going to Missouri this year to play baseball. So we're going to the Ozarks. So I'm really excited about that. That's a good show, by the way, if you've never seen it.
I met a guy. In fact, he's an electrician and did some of my electrical work down here, and he had been a college football referee.
That's an interesting job.
Yep. And so, you're working weekends, but you're in all the college towns.
Yep.
And it was maybe the Sunshine League, I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
So smaller schools, smaller towns, but it was like the same refereeing crew. So it was like a bunch of guys got together every weekend.
Oh, that's great.
They'd bring the wives with them.
Yep.
And they'd be working the game. All the girls are out doing their thing, and they're like, "Yeah, join us over here when y'all get ready."
Right.
They're like, "We get over there, we're already a 6-pack behind or something," and they're having a grand old time.
Yep.
And he says, it was an interesting way to see the South.
Absolutely.
And experience it in a much different way than you might otherwise experience it. But it's almost like, everybody's got this little thing they do.
Yeah.
Some people I got to go visit all the baseball parks. Some people I got to go see I got to go out to the national parks.
Right.
Some people are, who knows.
Right.
I was in Florida, South Florida recently, back last month. And was talking to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, you got to go to this place for, they got the best steak in town." And I'm like, no, that's saying something. I was in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's quite the comment to make. And but I thought about that for a second, and I thought, that's going to be my thing. I'm going to go looking for the best steakhouse everywhere you go. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be really cool.
Okay, now maybe I know I'm going to go to Hall's Chop House in Charleston. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. But maybe there's some other little hole in the wall that makes a really good steak.
I love steak. I could eat steak every meal, I think.
Oftentimes, however, when you go to a steakhouse, you get that it's so big.
It is so big.
Oh my God.
I know. And it's never good reheated.
No.
You can't recreate that.
I had a reheated steak today.
From? Do tell.
From here.
Oh, from your house.
So we bought a standing rib roast at Publix the other day.
Okay.
I think my wife cooked it up on Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday, I think. Yeah, Saturday. And we're still finishing it off. It was great when it came out of the oven, don't get me wrong. It was awesome. But, God's honest truth, I put it in the microwave.
Oh.
For, heat it up for lunch.
Sure.
And I've had steak every day since Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
How
Tuesday,
do you like your steak cooked?
Wednesday. Medium rare.
Okay. Yeah, same.
So I've lived on ribeye probably for at least half of my diet. I'll bet for 3 or 4 years now.
It's my favorite.
Easily that long. But go to Publix.
Okay.
I get a ribeye. I put it in an air fryer.
Never had a steak in an air fryer. Gonna have to try it.
I have had many people of all different backgrounds for things. Construction guys were here working on this space, for example, and I'm like, making you all lunch. It's going to be the best steak you ever had. And they're like, "Oh my God, that was awesome."
Yeah.
Friends of mine were visiting, and I said, "I'm going to make you a steak. It's going to be the best steak you ever had." And I throw it in the air fryer, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you just hang on."
Yeah.
We get it done, and the wife is like, "Joe, you need to find out how he made this because holy crap." But all I do is salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme.
Okay.
I am very liberal with it.
Okay.
In fact, there's a video of me doing it online. Of course, why not? It's on the Fragrant Disregard channel.
Good
I think
to know.
it's got all of 7 views.
8 when I go watch it because I'm going to need to know how to do it.
And it's just in like 8 or 10 minutes in the air fryer,
Okay.
and you're done.
And medium rare?
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
I love a ribeye.
Check the temperature when it comes out. Now, here's the other secret. Go to Publix when they have the standing rib roast on sale.
Okay.
That is ribeye.
I did
It's
not
the
know that.
exact same meat.
Did not know that.
The only difference between a ribeye and a standing rib roast, sliced.
Oh. I was going to say cost.
Well, cost too, because it's way cheaper to buy the standing rib roast.
Sounds like it, yeah.
But they have to cut it.
Got it.
So you pay an extra $10 a pound
Right.
to have them cut it for you.
Right.
You buy just part of it.
Right.
So at Christmas and Easter, they put it on sale.
Good to know.
And I think this past Christmas, I want to say it was maybe $10 a pound.
Wow. Can't get that anywhere else. Mm-mm.
No. So you go get yourself a couple standing rib roasts. Maybe you have a freezer you can throw 1 or 2 of them in. pull them out. A couple months later, chop it off. You got a ribeye all over again.
Okay.
So there you go.
I'm going to try it.
You've learned 2 new things
I
today.
have learned 2 new things today.
So you're a craft brew fan, you said.
Yes.
What is what craft brews? What attracts you to craft brew versus, hey, I'm drinking a Guinness, far from a craft brew.
I know. I don't really care for dark beer. I don't know why. It's just a little too heavy. I like trying different craft beers. I don't know why. I like trying local stuff. So I see this is from Charleston.
Have you not had Edmund's Oast
I don't
before?
think I have. So okay. I like Steel Hands. I like going to Craft and Draft in Irmo. Of course, that's close to my house, and trying a lot of there. Have you been there? That's a nice
I've been to the Craft and Draft out on Charter Oak Road here in west here town, but not the one in Irmo.
They've got a nice event space there and lots of different options to choose from. Just like a River Rat is another one that I like to go visit and drink.
Is River Rat still open?
I don't know. I haven't been in a long time.
One of the local Columbia craft brews closed.
Oh.
And it might be River Rat.
Well, that stinks because they had the coolest name.
They did, and they made some really nice stuff. There's the Belgian Monk's Corner Ale.
Yes.
Monk's Corner Belgian Ale. They have, or had, I don't know, I have a few of them still in my refrigerator here. Steel Hands is still open, and I just got a couple of their seasonal brews.
Mm-hmm. Saw that.
Their creme brulee and a white chocolate, I think, maybe. Ooh. And it's in their coffee lager.
Okay.
So
I like their coffee lager.
They've basically infused, in addition to infusing the coffee into their lager, they've infused like some chocolate and different things for the.
I have to try that.
I can tell you that it's kind of like a dessert beer.
It's sweet.
It's Swedish.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not full of sugar as far as that goes.
Right.
Which is an excellent thing. For all of those of us who maybe care about trying to be active and trying to do the right thing and so on and so forth, we do try to avoid that.
Yes, we do.
Who's the other? There's one over here in West Columbia. Right there
Black
along Meeting Street.
Is it Black Roost?
Well, Black Rooster is a nice restaurant. We can talk about that too. But
Savage,
yes.
Savage
Craft.
Savage Crafts, yeah, couldn't think of it. Yeah.
And they've got a really nice white stout, I think.
Oh.
That I've had over there. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Whoa.
I do say I like my women, or I like my beer like I like my women, dark and exotic. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I might be going. You
might be going the other way.
I might be going to the light side over here. That was really good. But so that's interesting because that's exactly what attracts me to all the whiskeys. Is that there's little differences.
Yeah.
And I'm much more partial to the small craft distilleries.
Yes.
That are just cranking out their own thing, doing something a little bit different. And it's got a local taste, like all this stuff here from Hollow Creek on the right-hand side here. Some of that stuff is just fantastic. And I would stack that up against anything else.
Interesting.
I've got other stuff, like there's a $250 bottle of scotch up here that I will never buy again because it's not worth it.
You didn't like it?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that it's bad.
Right.
It's just not worth $250 when I can get something just as good for $50.
Yeah. Is it bad to say I also like labels? Like sometimes I pick the beer because it's a nice label.
Yes. I picked this because it's called, what is this?
It was the blonde, right? Blonde ale.
Something cold.
Something cold. Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah. But everything is, this is the same. So you're a people person, but this is the same thing. What do you like about people? There's a variety of people.
That's right.
And finding out the interesting things that make them different. And that's the same thing with drinks.
That's true.
It's like, well, why is this different?
Yeah.
What are you doing with this? So, two of the ladies from Hollow Creek I've had on here, Meredith and Erin. Erin Thomas is also in the healthcare business. She has a athletic trainer degree, which I did not know until she sat down here and was telling me that that's actually a medical degree. And I'm like, excuse me?
I know.
I thought that was just the guy at the game that just, knew how to wrap up your...
Exactly.
Like, so she goes, well, no, it's a medical thing. And it's actually gotten to be a bigger thing now. Now I think you almost need to have a master's in order to get the certification or whatever. But she was a golfer, and she went to school here. She's from Gilbert. And even though you'd say, well, she's a Lutheran minister's daughter, she's working at Hollow Creek Distillery, making her own gin.
Love it.
Working on becoming like a really master distiller. I was over there this weekend, and she gave me a taste of a gin she's working on that's got a little bit of strawberry and rose petal in it, in addition to the typical juniper and other herbals that are in there. And it's pink. It's like, so it's pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's really nice. That's something a little bit different.
Yes.
And she's like, well, what do you think of it? Should I dial this back or a little more of this, a little less of that or something? So I find that fascinating.
I do. Mm-hmm.
And I find that it brings people together.
That's true.
And that's kind of the whole thing. I think that COVID drove so many people apart in our society in general.
Yeah.
I agree Lexington is different. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it.
There are certain parts of the difference in Lexington that I go, okay, people, you need to loosen up a little bit over here.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of really deep sincerity, I think, in the people.
I agree. And
I think that's kind of, when you say what's different, is that, I don't know. I've met so many people here that I just think, wow, what a great person.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I don't have that same feeling or that same experience in any other town I've been in.
Yeah.
I grew up in Western New York. I went to school in Northern New York. I used to live in South Florida. I lived in Kentucky for a little while. Back down to Florida, up here now for 20 years. I'm a halfback. I'm a damn Yankee.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what's next on your agenda?
Well, I hope to build a house. Get my.
So you're living in a teepee now?
I'm living in a
Raising
teepee.
kids?
Yes. Yeah. So we bought some property on the lake. So that's kind of like my dream. I can see myself right now on a paddleboard, just.
Oh, look at you.
So excited. So that'll be my exercise in a couple years when I get my house built. But, things aren't cheap.
Do yoga on a paddleboard?
Do yoga on a paddleboard. Now that's interesting.
They do it.
I'm sure they do. I don't know.
Nicole over at Pink Lotus, she does a paddleboard yoga out there
tough.
at least once a month.
Oh,
I think she might even do it weekly in the summertime. I'm not really sure.
Well, that'll have to be something I work up to, but...
That'll work on your balance.
Yes, it will. I'll be in the water the most of the time. Thank goodness I can swim. So we're trying to cut down because things are just obviously, so expensive. So hopefully over the next couple months, years, I don't know, things will kind of go down. And so we're trying to do a lot of this stuff ourselves. So I'm going to hopefully be in a house in a couple years. And then, I talked about maybe expanding the business part of kind of what we're doing. We also, I don't know if I told you this or not, you saw our coolers in there. We have Simple Plan too. So I have a meal prep company that's kind of getting some traction around town. Yes, so that's us too. And
Simple Plan. I saw something else. Maybe that's what I was looking at.
Yep.
How does that work? How does Simple Plan work?
So we have struggled a little bit trying to find a home. So we had our home for Simple Plan in the Irmo area. So it's essentially a meal prep company. It's healthy, good mix of fat, carbohydrates, protein, fiber, made fresh right here in Columbia every week. And if you order by midnight on Fridays, you can basically order from the menu and they'll be ready for pickup or delivery on Mondays. We can deliver to your house, deliver to your business. We have several pickup locations. Postal Express is one, and it's free for that service. So we'll drop it off and you can pick it up at your convenience. But we also have grab-and-go coolers. So I have one in Postal Express. So if hey, I forgot my lunch today, it's a great option. It's just heat and eat. They're already ready. It's sort of like a HelloFresh, but it's already made. And you just put it in the microwave, 2 minutes, and ready to eat. So we've had that company probably going on 1.5 years now, and we're really trying to ramp that up and see where it can take us.
How's that compare to Factor?
Similar. Very similar, except it's local.
And is it better? Because I wasn't all that fond of Factor.
I've never tried Factor. However, I've had some customers that are Simple Plan customers that were doing Factor, and they said the same thing. They just didn't feel like they were getting their money's worth. I
didn't think it was a money problem. I thought it was a taste problem.
So they just didn't feel like they were getting the quality that they were looking for in that meal. So very similar, I guess, in concept, but the meals are different. So yeah, we'll continue to try to grow that business. Alan, I'm telling you, I live a very boring life.
You keep trying to tell me this. You keep trying to tell me, no, I'm boring. I don't have any stories. I don't know what's going on. But you're into craft beer.
I am.
So, and you're a Gamecock. Got that figured out.
Yeah.
All right, so who's got the best pizza in town or any place in the local? Because this is always a big,
this is a
big argument.
So, again, I don't get to Lexington unless I'm working. So I can't speak to what's going on in Lexington.
Which is probably good because,
I know, yeah. So don't hold this against me. But I really like, Papa Gio's. I don't think y'all might have a Papa Gio's over here, but there's one in Irmo. I understand that it's two separate owners. I don't know the whole story, but I don't think they're owned by the same people anymore. But that's where we go for our pizza. It's Papa Gio's. I've been to a couple, like Ramblin' Mule. I've tried them out. We got a gift certificate to go eat there. Have you been there? It's pretty good.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
The last time I was any place over in the Chapin area.
Yeah.
There's a new restaurant. They're building a bunch of like little shelters around a lake. It's right along Broad River Road or Chapin Road or whatever that is. It kind of the main drag coming in from this side of town.
They have a lot of, in Chapin, they have a lot of mom and pop things, which I love. I'm not a big chainy restaurant type thing. And again, I look for names. Like if you got a catchy name, I'm probably going to try you out. But the Ramblin' Mule is actually, I think it's on 378 in Lexington. And I liked the name. I was like, I got to try that place out. I want to try Boho Pizza. I've heard that. Have you been there? I haven't been there either. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, we don't venture to Lexington very much, but there's a lot of places over here that I'd like to try as well.
Well, if you're along 378 and you happen to be heading out, trying to go back the other side of the lake.
Okay.
And you're into New York style.
Ooh, that we are.
On the north side of the road.
Okay.
On the left as you're heading out of town.
Okay.
Across from Best Buy.
Okay, yes.
There's a furniture store over there.
Familiar.
Martha Ray's, maybe? Is the
Okay.
name of it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a plaza right next to there.
Okay.
And there is Clara and Ray's Ristorante Italiano.
Oh, so it's an Italian restaurant.
I will vouch for, I think the boys there might have the best pizza here.
Really? Okay.
Now,
We're going to try it.
For longtime aficionados of this podcast, because, there's been so many episodes so far,
I know.
and so many viewers of all of it, I won't repeat this story because I told it twice in 2 videos in a row.
But I'm going to try it.
But
We're big Italian people.
They're from Long Island.
Okay.
And a couple guys have been friends since they were very young. And coincidentally, I went to college with them.
And they're here?
I did not know that at the time. I didn't meet them until we got here.
Of all the places.
Yeah, and they literally lived in the apartment, like that's right next door to me.
Crazy.
It's like this wall between my kitchen and their living room. We literally lived, and I never met them.
Oh my gosh.
I had to walk past my apartment every day to get to theirs. I certainly saw them go by.
Sure.
But
What a story.
Meet them here. I'm like, oh, you went to school up in Potsdam? I'm like, yeah. Really? When were you there? Well, holy crap, I was there at the same time. Where were you? I'm like, get the flock out of here. Or as they might say in the South, shut the front door.
Front door, that's my favorite. Oh my Lanta.
So I will tell you, they have awesome pizza.
Okay.
It is, to me, their meatballs are the best. They do make a meatball appetizer that is, I think, is really, really good. They do run up to Charleston to get special ingredients so they can get the stuff they want. I don't think they have their water shipped in from New York. Some places will ship water in to make sure they've got the correct minerals or whatever in the water, especially if you're making bagels or something like that.
Right.
I don't believe that they do that, but what the hell, maybe they do.
Right.
These Italians, what can you do?
I know.
Yeah, but they make a really good pizza.
Okay. Yeah, we're always on the good lookout for a good Italian restaurant. My husband's family is Italian, so always in the market for those.
Well, my wife's family is all Italian, so it's one of the things when we moved here. There used to be an Italian restaurant out next to Lexington High School.
Okay.
It's not there anymore. It was, I don't know, the name will come to me probably soon enough, but there's a little strip plaza there, like it was got zebra cleaners in it or something right now.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think there's a Middle Eastern restaurant in that space that used to be, still the name's not coming to me. Anyway, we took my wife's grandmother in there. And I think she was probably 90 or something like that. But she grew up in Harlem. Oh. And so, we're sitting down at the table in there, and she must have said something to somebody about being from Harlem or whatever. The next thing you know, the owner comes out of the kitchen. Well, he grew up in Harlem.
Lucky there.
So the two of them, just going on. And she's like, I'm coming here for my 100th birthday. She says, this is so much like home. I remember so much this. The food was so good. And then they ended up closing down. I don't recall exactly the reason. I think there was a health problem someplace.
Dang.
And Lexington lost what was probably one of the best assets that it had, but it's just a little hole in the wall sitting out there, west of town.
Yeah, wherever that is.
Yeah, it's hard to know where you are down here sometimes.
It's okay.
You can't see through the tinders that are over here. Timbers. So anyway, Emilie, I think this has been awesome.
I think so too. I'm so excited. I can check this off my bucket list. I've told you I've been wanting to do.
Don't check it off your bucket list. Come back again.
Oh, well, I mean, if you give me a second invite, of course. But I always told you I wanted to be on a podcast, and voila.
You never know when you're going to have another story to tell.
That's right. It might be a while, but I'll have another one, I'm sure.
Or I'll get really good.
That's right.
Or we'll have somebody else here with you.
That's right. You're tag team.
Is there anyone else that can keep up with you?
No, I'm just kidding, probably. 20 years ago, I didn't have a match. Now I'm kind of, slowed down in my old age. So
You're awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had fun.